Hi, and welcome to another episode of the CDEX tutorial. If you haven't seen the previous videos, especially the previous part to this video where I talk about manually adding comments, be sure to go back and watch them first. I'll leave a link below in the descriptions. In this episode, I'm going to show you more comments that you can add manually to your test cases for a more dynamic web testing experience. This episode is going to focus on the series of store comments, where each comment will be demonstrated with a small example. Let's get started now. There are 8 store comments in the current version of the CDEX Recorder. The main function of the store comment is to store some content into a variable, so your test case can execute further operations with the variable. The target and value for each comment is organized into the following table. Since all of these comments are storing something into a variable, the value field for all the 8 comments are the names of your variable, as shown in the table. These 8 comments can then be subgrouped into 2 categories. The first category being the first 3 comments, where the comment takes up some input and store it as a variable. Let's take a closer look to the first comment, store. The store comment can take up some string value in its target field and store it as a local variable, which can only be accessed by the same test case it was defined in. For example, if I'm using a while loop with an index, I can define my index value with the store command, with the initial value of the variable as the target, and the name of the variable as the value. And this index will only be visible within this specific test case. If you want your variable to be accessible from the other test cases, you can define your variable with the store global variable command. This command also takes up some string value as the target and the variable's name as the value. If you wish to know more about global and local variables, be sure to check out episode 5 of this tutorial. The third store command is store evaluation. The store evaluation command takes up some JavaScript expression as its target and store the result of the expression into a variable. For example, you can write any JavaScript expression like 256 divided by 8, or expression like hello.substring, which will stream your string's first character into hello. I can use an echo command to print out the variable in the log so you can see the result. Now, the comments demonstrated until this point all requires you to type something inside the target field. What if you need to store some element from the website? Well, there is our category 2, where the command will store some existing element from the website into a local variable. The first one is called store title. This command does not require a target, since it will store the title of your web page. For example, if I add a store title command and run it on the CDEX official page, you can see that when I echo this variable in the log, it shows the exact title of the CDEX website. The second store command in this category is called store text. The store text command can store some element's text into a variable. The target of this command will be an element locator. This can be added in 2 ways. The first method is to right-click on the element while recording and select CDEX Recorder 3 and then Store and Text. The CDEX Recorder will pop up a window asking you for the variable's name. After you enter the variable's name, press OK and you'll see the store text command in the work area, with the target being the locator to the element and the value being the name of your variable you just entered. The second method to generate this command is to use the selector icon of the target field. After you've added your store text command, press on the select icon and select your element in the website. Then, type in the variable's name in the value field, and you've got your command all set up. If you echo this variable in the log panel, you can see that CDEX has stored the element's text in your variable. Let's move on to the next comments. The store value and store tooltip comments work similar to the store text command. The store value collects the text inside an input field, so for your store value command, your selected target should be an input field like this one. And the store tooltip command collects the text of the tooltip that appears when the mouse moves over an element. And the selected target for your store tooltip command should be an element that contains a tooltip, like this YouTube video's title. And you can see the echo result in the log panel. Finally, our last store command of the day is the store is visible command. This command will evaluate the visibility of your element and store the result as a Boolean value into the variable. More about the visibility problem will be discussed in another video. For now, I'll just show you how this command works. For example, this Watch Later button is only visible when the mouse moves over it. Therefore, it's not visible to your eye in this moment. Using the Store is Visible command, CDEX can evaluate the visibility of your element and store it into a variable. As you can see in the log, the result is false. But if I verify this subscribe button over here, you can see that the visibility result is true. Alright, this is it for today. I hope you find this video being helpful. Be sure to check out the other videos in the playlist for more tutorials about CDEX. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.